Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about the Official Secrets Act. Now, the Official Secrets Act, very clear from its name, you must have heard a lot about it also. But because we know that the IPC, the CRPC and the Evidence Act, they are being revisited right now. So, all these colonial acts and, if I may say, draconian acts, even these acts are being revisited. In that sense, they are in the radar. Whichever acts are very old and they are colonial legacy, they are in the radar right now of the government, that whether these acts should be repealed or they should be amended, what should happen to them. So all these acts, they must be in your memory, in your recent memory, because you can get a question in prelims, you can get a question in mains. In this particular class, we are going to talk about it from the mains perspective. So I hope it will help you. And we'll cover it in such a way that if you get a 10 marker, 15 marker on the just this act, you can write some good pointers on that. And we'll try to cover as much of the prelims part also as possible. Okay. Now, before starting, let me just make a few things very clear. Everyone asks about the notes after these class. So regarding the notes for this class, in the beginning I am only telling you that you have two ways. The first way is you can go for the Shunya books. Okay, GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 books. You can order them. You can order all of them. You can order whichever subjects book, whichever papers book you need. The second option for you is you can go for handwritten notes as the class proceeds. Okay. So you can, as I explained, you can keep on writing it down. You'll have to collate these notes, and I would suggest that you make them in A4 size sheets, because you'll have to collate these notes according to papers, according to all these aspects. So these are the two options that you have. If you ask for PDFs in the comments, that won't be possible from our side. So I am informing you in advance. Another thing, this Official Secrets Act, the OSA, is relevant from GS2 paper, from the perspective of GS2. This is not relevant from paper GS1, GS3, GS4 as such, not relevant. So there are some topics for which there are no inter-paper linkages, and this is one of the topics. This is relevant only from the GS2 polity and governance aspect of it. Now with this, let's start with the Official Secrets Act. See, India is a democracy, and in a democracy, one of the primary values that exists in a democracy is of transparency. But when this transparency value is violated by the government itself, when the government is legally allowed to hide information from you in the name of national security, in the name of public safety, in the name of sovereignty or whatever, that seriously hampers our ability to act as a democratic nation, our ability to exercise our rights as a democratic country, right? Official Secrets Act is such an act which was enacted in 1923. So it is definitely a colonial era act, and it was meant to hide information from the masses about the ways and means of the British government. Okay. And if you see this period also, this period was a period of great tumultuous times. The non-cooperation movement had just ended. There was a lot of violence that happened and everything. So you can understand where it is coming from, where this act is coming from. And the sad part is that it is still existing in our country, not in our constitution, in our country. It is a separate act. It is not a part of the constitution. So when you explain about the Official Secrets Act, you write that it is India's official anti-espionage act. India's official anti-espionage act, which enables us to immediately take very strict actions against anyone who is trying to spy on us. And it is not that it is an unnecessary act. See, because there are always elements who are trying to snatch information, crucial information about our nuclear arsenal, about our defense arsenal, everything. So we have to make sure that we hide information from these kind of elements. But the problem is that Official Secrets Act lately has been used against journalists as well, against people who are whistleblowers as well, who are trying to just bring out good information to the public under right to information, under this entire transparency regime, and they are being charged under Official Secrets Act. Okay, so that is an issue. If we talk about data, from 2014 to 2016, Official Secrets Act was violated 50 times. So there were 50 violations. Now, in a country of 1.3 billion people, that time it was 1.3, right now is at 1.4. So 1.3 billion people, 50 violations is literally nothing. So this can mean two things. Either the act is being used as it is, as it should be used, right? Not unnecessarily people are being detained, etc. This is one valid reason why the detentions and not even the detentions, the cases are so less. Another reason is that the provisions are so outdated that the current form of espionage is not even suiting the law, right? They are not able to catch up. This law is not able to find out the actual people who are doing espionage. And just think about it. Despite having this Official Secrets Act, we did face a lot of terror attacks. We faced the parliament attacks, attack on Indian parliament. Just imagine that happening, right? So parliament attacks happened, then Mumbai terror attacks happened, right? So these kind of things have been happening despite the Official Secrets Act, and despite all of this there were 50 violations. So we need to understand that what is the utility of this act, why are we spending energies, and why are we having this act right now. So it is, the overall objective of the act is to maintain national security. Okay, the primary objective of the act is to maintain national security, and national security will be maintained when you will be safeguarding the crucial secrets. For example, where is the atomic facility located exactly? Where is the exact location of our atomic facility? These kind of things, they don't have to be out in the public. In fact, during the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, one of the reasons it took such a long time to stop those attacks was that there was live coverage happening of those attacks, right? In the Taj Hotel, in the Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus, and all these places, the terrorists, they were coordinating actually because of the media reporting that here the police has reached, here it has not reached. So this constant breach of secrecy can impact, and that is why we need to protect the state. We need to protect the state against information leakage. This is very important. Okay. Then applicability. Who all is it applicable to? That means who all can be detained under this act. See, it is applicable only to Indian citizens, right? Because Indian citizens have this obligation not to keep the sovereignty. If a Pakistani comes to India, or if someone from Bangladesh comes to India with a negative intent, for example, they are not obligated to safeguard our safety, our secrecy, right? So it is applicable only to Indian citizens. One thing very important is that the Indian citizens can be living in India or outside India as well. So for example, there has been a case wherein Madhuri Gupta case, the Madhuri Gupta case, she was sentenced to jail, happened in 2018, and was accused of passing on sensitive information to the ISI, to the Pakistani agency ISI, right? So she's a diplomat. So residing outside India and still charged with it. So Indian residing in India or outside India can be implicated under Official Secrets Act. So this is very important. Then what is the ambit of the act? What are the kind of acts that can be punished under this particular act? See, one very basic thing is spying, right? Spying will be punished. Spying or espionage, they will be punished. Then the second thing that will be punished is, even if you know a secret, you did not take the secret from the government, but you know the secret and you have passed it on somewhere. So passing on crucial information is also something that is not allowed, something that you can be implicated for. Okay, passing on crucial information can also be a crime that is there. So please, you need to know that not just finding out information, but passing on that information also becomes a crime, right? And this passing on information is something because of which many false cases have been come to light. For example, the ISRO scientist case, the Nambi Narayan case, which has been in news also because of the movie that came up. The Nambi Narayan case, he did not dig for any information, but it was somehow alleged that he passed on the crucial cryogenic technology to Pakistan. Okay, although it was made very clear that he was not guilty and he was falsely accused, but this because of this second clause, the clause 5, the section 5, this ends up resulting in a lot of false accusations and even false detentions. Okay, then other than that, it also deals with crimes like harboring spies, unauthorized use of uniforms, falsification of reports, interference with the police in crucial areas. So if you are doing any of that knowingly or unknowingly and you end up harming the security of the land, you can be implicated. And that is why we say that you are supposed to know the law of the land. It is a very sad state of affairs that most of the people in India don't know crucial laws, don't know the impact that these laws can have on them. But that is true that we need to know the laws of the land where we are living. Okay, an Official Secret Act is such. So let's say if tomorrow you come to find out that somewhere someone around you is working in raw, in a very secret aspect, in a very high profile case, you are not supposed to spread that information like that, because if something happens because of that, even you can be implicated under section 5. Okay, and classification of documents. See, some documents are classified as secret documents, confidential documents. They cannot be released to the public. Even if RTI is filed for them, they cannot be released to the public. So these documents, there is another act which is not the Official Secrets Act, is the Manual of Departmental Security, Manual of Departmental Security Instructions Act. Okay, so here you can get a question in your prelims that under OSA the files are classified or declassified. No, OSA के under recommend किया जा सकता है that this file cannot be shared, but the classification and declassification of a document happens under the Manual of Department Security Instructions Act. Okay, just remember that. This has been in news also, the Official Secrets Act. Now, without even knowing, you can understand what are the issues. If I were to ask you just one issue that the Official Secrets Act poses to the overall structure of the Indian society, what is the issue? The issue is that it is against the right to information, right? Right to information is a part of Article 21, that is right to life. Okay, and RTI Act also exists RTI Act 2005. Now the problem is that any information can be refused by the public officials in the name of RTI. That is a big problem. In the name of OSA. Okay. In the name of OSA, any issue, any particular information can be denied by the public officials, and that is a big issue. So this is the primary issue. All others are secondary issues, that freedom of speech and expression, all of these are complementary and supplementary issues. Primary issue is that the free flow of information is being hampered, right? That is there. So there is conflict with right to information. There are some aspects wherein the supremacy of RTI is supposed to be maintained, and there are some aspects wherein the supremacy of Official Secrets Act is being taken. So, for example, Section 22 of RTI says that RTI, that's right to information, is supposed to supersede other acts, and other acts includes the Official Secrets Act. However, there is mismatch in this as well. The mismatch is that the Section 8 and Section 9 of RTI says that information can be denied on the basis of certain acts and on the basis of Official Secrets Acts as well. So RTI as a law has some discrepancy as well, and that leaves the scope for misuse. Okay. Then of course it is against democratic values, it is against Article 19 and Article 21, violates freedom of speech and expression, affects flow of information to people, and promotes a culture of secrecy, which is of course, you don't have to write all these three in separate pointers, but you need to write this aspect, that freedom of speech and expression is violated. Here you can mention a case, Iftikhar Gilani case. Now Iftikhar Gilani, you might have known the name. The thing is that he was definitely charged with spying for Pakistan. Yes, definitely, that is there. But he, as a journalist, his case became a model to justify actions against journalists who are doing their job in a correct manner also. So, for example, if we see the very recent case, we see Delhi journalist case. We see Delhi journalist case, and because of the Iftikhar Gilani case, we have seen that this becomes a prerogative, a particular precedent, that now journalists can be looked at. It is accused that a strategic affairs analyst, Rajiv Sharma, the case is against Rajiv Sharma, hai na? This person passed on information about the deployment of Indian troops on borders, right, to our neighboring Chinese intelligence officers. Now, the thing is, it's never easy to prove whether you were passing on information to them or you were just passing on information to the people for them to understand what is happening at the borders, right? Similarly, there was another journalist, Tarakant Dwivedi. Tarakant Dwivedi reported that after the 26/11 attacks, 26/11 के attacks के बाद in Mumbai terror attacks, what he reported was that the weapons were stored at a place, in the CST terminal where the roof was leaking. And these kind of, media houses run on these kind of information which people find interesting, right? So roof was leaking and sophisticated weapons are kept here. This is a information for which he was implicated and said that, okay, you have released crucial information in the public domain. But then eventually judiciary ruled that the area that he visited was not an area wherein there were stoppages. It was not an exclusive area. It was an open, it was not a forbidden area, not a prohibited area. So he was falsely implicated. So this case, Iftikhar Gilani case, became a sort of a precedent to formulate cases against journalists, and that is against freedom of speech and expression. I hope you understand that. Okay. Then there are contentious provisions of the act overall, right? If we talk about the section 3 of this particular act, then we see that the definition of spying, like most of the acts of this country, nothing is very clearly defined. For example, even in contempt of court act, scandalizing the authority of the court is a criminal offense. What is scandalizing? What does scandalizing mean? There is no clarity on that. Similarly, what exactly does spying mean? There is no clarity of that. Okay, so that what if a diplomat is seeing a website on dark web, something related to the intelligence of India or something related to the intelligence of, let's say, another country, Pakistan? Are we supposed to believe that this person is engaging in espionage? There is no clarity. So misuse can happen very, very easily. And this is being strengthened by section 5 also, because section 5 says that any action against national security is supposed to be penalized under Official Secrets Act. And please don't forget in this entire discussion that this act is a colonial era act with very different set of rulers ruling us at that point of time, having very different agendas. We were not a democracy back then. We were a colonial, we were a colony basically, right? We were colonial slaves. So this act going on right now as well does not make sense. Then no clear definition, and overall there is obstacle to bail. If you are detained under this act, what if you just criticized the government? What if you actually, let's say, engaged in a spy operation? For example, there was this Cobra Post sting operation that happened, wherein a lot of famous celebrities were being interviewed, and it was said that, you know, they'll take money and they will show as if they belong and they support a particular political party, etc. Right? So do these kind of things also become against Official Secrets Act? Right? So there are 4 aspects to it: the RTI, the democratic values, the issues in the act itself, and overall issues that how far can this act go. Then I have already told you there are some cases that we need to discuss. Already told you the ISRO spy case, already told you the Iftikhar Gilani case, then Tarakant Dwivedi case, have told you Madhuri Gupta case, Delhi journalist case. Kumar Narayan case was one of the oldest case wherein the PMO staff, former PMO staff, you know that PMO is the most crucial, most important body that is running the entire country. So former PMO staff happens to have a lot of information, and it was said that they passed on crucial information to the French, German and the Polish embassy. Whenever you write mains, never write these instances as separate part of your answer. Always integrate them with your pointers. Like I told you here, like I told you in the previous slide, that don't have a separate part. You know, if you are mentioning issues, if it is against transparency, if it is against free speech, just write this Delhi journalist case, just write the Tarakant Dwivedi case, right? Write it there and then, otherwise it looks very memorized, otherwise it looks very, very, you know, what do I say, otherwise it looks very fabricated. It doesn't come organically, you know, that is there. Way forward. Now there are many recommendations. This is just like sedition, you know, and we all know that the new Nyaya Samhita did not use the word sedition, but the provisions of sedition are still there. So what is the way forward. There are some way forward suggested by the second ARC, by various other agencies. So we'll see one by one. See, it has been recommended by the Shorey committee. You can write this. It has been recommended by the Shorey committee that please amend the section 5 and restrict the application of Official Secrets Act to national security matters only. For example, Official Secrets Act to the national security matters. For example, there has been demand of the documents of Subhash Chandra Bose being released, right? Now the thing is that even if they are released, even if it is found out that a very disturbing incident happened, or he did not die in the plane crash or anything, we have to weigh and measure whether this particular information would impact national security, or would it just bring some political gimmicks and just some political criticism, and the government does not want to have that criticism. We have to make that distinction. Okay, secrecy has to be an exception, it cannot be a norm, right? Secrecy cannot be a norm, and even this was recommended by Shorey committee, so you need to mention this. Then there was this recommendation that RTI needs to have primacy over the Official Secrets Act, otherwise this will be violated. Okay, whenever you mention this should be the first point, that or if we are to make a sort of a Venn diagram. So if this is the diagram of information, if this is the diagram that this much information is under RTI and this much is the entire information available in the country, okay, Official Secrets Act should be hardly this much. This should be Official Secrets Act, and this should be the right to information. Okay, even why Official Secrets Act is under is a part of this particular thing, because even the classified documents end up being declassified after a few years. No matter how big the conspiracy was, no matter how big the planning was for whichever thing, after about 20, 25, 50 years, you have to declassify documents, because because the people need to know what has been happening with our country, right? So that is there. Then another thing, and a very interesting suggestion that was given, was that why to have a separate act at all? We don't need to have a separate act at all. What we can actually do is that the National Security Act can be amended and a provision regarding official secrets can be added. Now this was recommended by second ARC. The National Security Act has to be amended. Similarly, the NIA Act can also be amended, and this act should be repealed. The Official Secrets Act should be repealed. A provision can be added in these acts. So this is by second ARC. It's a very valid suggestion, because the overarching nature of the OSA will be controlled because of this. And ultimately, what we have to ensure again by the second ARC is that transparency. RTI, again this is the same thing, that RTI has to be given preference, and Official Secrets Act, even if it has to be retained, it has to be made in line with the right to information. That is how it has to work. Okay, this is the way forward. So the point regarding this whole Official Secrets Act is that there is no space for secrecy in a democracy unless absolutely crucial for national security. So you're understanding, right, where and how this question can come up, how and when this aspect can be asked, right? So please understand that why it is in news, because all the laws, the colonial era laws, are being revamped and refurnished and refurbished and everything, and what can be the implications regarding it. So I hope you enjoyed this particular lecture and derived some value out of it. Regarding the notes, I have already told you in the beginning of the class. You can go to the beginning of the class and find out how to get the notes, etc. And I will see you all in the next class. Thank you for watching.